ฟัง
Geringverdiener und Flüchtlinge gegeneinander ausspielen. So sieht es auch der Sozialverband. Kann ich das machen? weil Geringverdiener und Flüchtlinge gegeneinander ausspielen. So sieht es auch der Sozialverband. Kann ich das machen?
Guys, welcome back to the channel. I wasn't even born in 87. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that toy hunt. That was Shop Your Curiosity in Danbury, Connecticut. It was a really good time. And besides somehow going back in the past, I hope you guys kind of enjoyed the retro vibe. Tried to, peep the music. Try to put you back in that time. You see vintage retro toys. You go and cycling through the radio stations, listen to a couple different vintage retro songs. Try to put a little spin on it. I hope you guys enjoyed that and have fun listening to it. The music was pretty cool, along with just seeing all the old school toys from different people's generations. Like, again, it was 70s, 80s, 90s stuff too. So it was great. I don't collect a lot of nostalgia 90s stuff. I would love to have a modern spin on a lot of 90s figures and stuff, but again, that was the last video. I don't want to go on too long, so let's get into the haul. So, not a lot. Kind of trying to changing the focus. Now that I have a good quality, I want to keep going with the quality. The quantity just gets there over time because you keep collecting. But now it's more so what you pick up quality-wise and not as many things, right? So, the first thing I did pick up, Valverse mystery box. Have not opened it. I'll probably make a little separate video how I usually do mystery box. There's no tape on them though now. So people were just ripping them open right there as soon as they got them, see if they got the variant, the clear one. Personally, I don't want the clear one. I want to keep the white one and that's it. I did pick up a second one, but I had to hook up my boy Junkion, good friend of the channel. So Junkion will be getting yours in the mail soon. And I did not open his, so if I have a white one and he has a clear one, then, it is what it is. I stopped by, because again, it was retro, vintage stuff, but they also had newer retailers and stuff like that. I stopped by Four Horsemen just to look at their stuff. I'm not the biggest Mythic collector, but they actually had this, and I didn't know they were going to have it. So, I picked this up. The ATL 25, the Toylanta exclusive. Looks really cool. It's like not Roadblock. That's what it reminds me of, obviously. But looks really good. Can't wait to rip this one open and just dig into this and see how it feels. I mean, I didn't think they were going to be doing military figures. I never would have thought Four Horsemen would do military figures. But I'll tell you what, they just opened the Pandora's box as far as other people being able to do other lines. So, we'll see. I'm not going to say much on that. The next thing I picked up, I saw it at Zolicon. I didn't get it, and I wanted it, and I saw a lot of people have it, and it looked great. So, I had to have it, and I'm very happy I picked it up, and that is this bad boy. Venturous Rapax. And he looks awesome. All the blood splatter everywhere. Looks really good. I like Mr. Wilson from like Home Improvement. Sorry about the glare, but Venturous looks great. I had to. It looked too good. Too good. And the last thing I picked up actually is something you can kind of see here next to Chip Hazard. I want to do a little video and kind of showcase it. I'll show you a little sneak peek of it. But look at this thing. Look at that. I won't go into more detail, but this was one of my favorite things I've picked up in a long time. I will get into that in another video. But hope you guys enjoyed it. I don't want to go on too long. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things. Let me know your thoughts of the convention. It was a one-day show. Again, it was in Connecticut. There's a lot more stuff coming up, so there'll be a lot more content coming to the channel. I got some other ideas coming down the pike. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good day and your work weeks and all those things. And cue the music. Play the music. This is why retro stuff is retro, because it